Krystal 93 presents today's Krystal Conversation.
Good morning. For this week's Krystal Conversation, we have the authors of Eli and Mort's Epic Adventures, the children's novels that have been sweeping Summit County, Alyssa and Ken Nager. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
All right, so Alyssa and Ken, Eli and Mort's Epic Adventures, of course, a very popular book around Summit County youth. So Alyssa, I'll start with you. How did the concept for Eli and Mort's Epic Adventures come up?
So the main concept behind the book was we wanted to create a book for for children, and we wanted it to be truly local. So what we did was we brainstormed about what truly local meant. And for us, that meant having the books created through the eyes of local children. So we have kids ages 7 to 17 drawing the background images, and that really sets the books apart.
So the illustrations already look fantastic. And Ken, I got to ask, how did you guys even come up with this idea? Because normally for children's books, they'll kind of leave kids out of it. They may bring up some stories, but as far as illustrations, they're nowhere to be found. So this is such a great, kind of a new idea as well. So how did this all start about?
And that was the X factor, is that we really wanted to see how it was going to play out with the kids drawing the illustrations. So we got our first illustration back. We did a call out for illustrators. So through social media and through the schools and our art studios, we brought about 50 kids in to compete essentially to draw in a book and become an actual published illustrator. And the first illustration we got back, it was text to us from a mom, and Alyssa got the text, and she's like, wow. Her eyes just started tearing up, and she knew that we had a hit because the kids just really nailed it. And that's really what kind of makes the book, is that we get to see the different fun things to do in the resort town through the eyes of the children.
So the adventures, or Eli and Mort's Epic Adventures, is this strictly in Breckenridge?
Our first book we created was for Beaver Creek, and that was the #1 selling book in the Valley last year. And then we launched Vail, and then over Christmas time this year we launched Steamboat and Breckenridge.
So how many books are there for Eli and Mort's Epic Adventures?
There's 5. There's 5 different books in 4 different resort towns. So like Alyssa said, we have Beaver Creek, Vail, Breckenridge, and Steamboat, and then we also translated Vail into Spanish. So we have a Spanish version of the Vail book.
So we talked about the illustration. So how about just the story itself, the characters, Eli and Mort? How did that kind of come about?
We just brainstormed. We have 3 boys ourselves, and we really wanted to capture what kids feel when they're in this big, wild, white world of a ski resort. And we took inspiration from them because they're, woohoo on the mountain and things like that. So we capture sort of the mountain part of it and all the fun things and crazy jumps and tricks and everything kids do in their minds, but also we capture what the local towns feel like. So Breckenridge, of course, is a mining town, and so we have all those special things about Breckenridge we hope we've captured in the story.
Yeah, it's fun. We actually go to each resort town and we do our research. We talk to locals. We ski the mountain. We go around the town, and then we try to make it's an A to Z book. So it's an A to Z book through the eyes of the children, but it's also ages probably about 3 to about 10 or 11 is the target market, and families and grandparents and everything else.
So this book's informational as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of history involved, especially with the stories, and this is just so cool.
Yeah, some kids buy it and they follow Eli and Mort through their adventure in the town. So they do what they do, and also it's a keepsake. So I've been to Breckenridge, I've done all these cool things, been on these awesome runs, and now I can read about my vacation.
And the fun thing about Eli and Mort, Eli is a 5-year-old boy, and Mort is his best friend and partner in fun. He's a stuffed moose though as well. So when other people are around, he's a stuffed moose. But when it's the two of them, it's his best friend.
And, with this being an informational book, especially around here, just Summit County, really just Eagle County as well, we all just love the local collaboration. And I would imagine that this is going to be the first of many. And besides the summer book, y'all can really expand to Colorado and even kind of maybe dive into the neighboring states as well. This is kind of going to be an expanding series, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Most definitely. We're definitely eyeing over in Park City and going to try to expand and see where our efforts take us. I know that Alyssa would really love to do a Hawaii book.
Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, Hawaii would be great, sure. All right, so the big question, where can people, families, parents pick up the book?
Right, so in Steamboat, Breckenridge, Beaver Creek, and Vail, there's, the local kids stores and bookstores, but for specific retailers, go to eliandmort.com. and you can buy them there. And if you're out of town, they're available on Amazon.
And one of our latest books that we are working on currently right now is Eli and Mort Learn to Snowboard.
Nice.
So they are going to be tearing up a step-by-step. I taught snowboarding for about 8 years over in Vail, and so we're going to kind of break it down into how you go through a lesson, and that's going to be a really fun book.
Yeah, well, guys, thank you so
Thanks
much
for having us.
coming in.
Thank you very much.
This has been the Krystal Conversation, highlighting Eli and Mort's epic adventures with authors Alyssa and Cam Nager. The Krystal Conversation is brought to you by our sponsor, High Country Cleaning.
This has been the Krystal Conversation. Opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of this station or its advertisers.